Hi, welcome to my channel. I always talk about damaged hair, and I let you talk about your damaged hair problems because you need someone to listen to you about all of your hair issues, as well as the hair issues that questions, the hair questions that you have that concerns your issues need to be answered. And a lot of times we're just not getting enough answers, even though there's load of information on the internet, which we'll be getting into, I guess within the next post. I'll be looking at the internet information that we get over flooded with. But for now, we just want you to understand that if you don't have damaged hair, then that's great. You can learn how to protect your hair from getting damaged. And that way you will be able to understand your hair before it's a big problem. Sometimes it's hard to understand our hair after it's gotten complicated issues. So we want to know our hair and know what our hair does, how often it needs moisture. Your hair may be different because my hair needs a lot more moisture on a regular basis because I'm on medicine every day to take care of high blood pressure and so forth. So if you're on any type of medication long term, it will make your hair have different characteristics. So you have to pay attention to your hair and understand what you're looking for so that you can cater to those issues that need to be rebuilt. So whatever is taken away from your hair, you need to have something to put back in your hair. So you need the conditioning information so that you can condition better. If you condition better, your hair will show it and you'd be proud of it. And you'd also be very happy because when you get out of damage and you know you've done it, I'm the reason why I'm not in damage. And that's going to be such a rewarding issue for you that you'll be very proud of your conditioning and you'll feel empowered because you realize that you're saving your hair. Remember, you're the one that has to save your hair. No one else can do that. A lot of times we think so much that we think about issues and we think, oh, I know what's wrong with my hair. Well, you might know what's wrong with it, but you might not know what product to take care of it or how to use product or utilize product to your best ability. So therefore, you get nowhere. Even though you know what's wrong with your hair, solving the problem is a different issue. I've had schooling as well as 35 years of observing and learning and studying very intensely. And I still don't think I've learned it all. So I'm sure that you would be at a disadvantage trying to solve all of your hair issues. Once they become so complicated, it's hard for a product to pull you out of it. So we have to have knowledge and product. So product is still good. Product is still out there. That is good. Don't think of all product being bad. And if you start thinking about products not working and products being, not giving you the results you want, and you're treating the symptoms with the product and not taking care of the core of the problem. So that's what happens. We get lost in conditioning. And hopefully my channel can be here to give you a sound base about conditioning so that you can utilize your conditioners better. I want to help you help yourself. I want to thank you for sending all your email questions or your hair questions to ditahair911 at gmail.com. I really appreciate it, and I really am thankful for the contact. We even have some clients, or should I say some followers, who are actually putting these classes or these posts in motion. They are trying to take control of their damaged hair. So now we get to have more fun because up to this point, I've just been shoving information at you and trying to do it in a way that you can relate to changing your hair ways. Um, One of the things that is going to change with my post is that I will be looking at what they're doing and how they're progressing. I think that'll be interesting for us to examine, and I think that it'll be interesting for us to learn, to get a lot more information, a lot more experience in what we're looking for and how our hair lives, how it reacts to conditioning and how it reacts if it doesn't have it. Uh, Once we can get these questions answered, this would be great. And it'll be a little bit more in depth and you'll get a better idea. Hopefully, the interviews that we're doing with personal people who are taking the first steps into taking my advice into conditioning better. I've done an interview with Joe, and that was very informative on how she went through the process. I was very proud of Joe. She's doing great, and hopefully we can have her on again so that she can tell you more about her experience at using my advice and going through the transitions of her hair healing. Um, I would say hair and scalp healing, right? So thank you. Our first question is to our first question to detahair911 at gmail.com is my hair color or perm will not work on my hair. So, I read her question a little bit earlier because she said it didn't work. Um, when I read it a little bit closer, she actually, her perms did not curl. She went in for a curly perm and it just didn't curl, it didn't take, and didn't last. Then, of course, her colors are coming out. This is a serious conditioning problem, but it also looks like a stress problem. So I want you to not only look into your stress level and try to lower it, but also, too, conditioning. You need to start in with the moisture and the protein and start doing that every 3 days. And I want you to do that until your hair starts showing some change. Hopefully you have a good, strong product. Make sure you're looking for protein that's with repair or repair after perm or after chemical. And then, of course, your colors, I want you to stop them all together. Unfortunately, you need to stop so that, and I hope that doesn't leave you with with a bad look. But think about it like this. If you don't stop, we can't get the conditioners to hold. It sounds like nothing is holding. So in order to get something to hold, you need to just keep adding to your internal structure of the hair strand. And in doing that, you'd have to deep condition with heat. So let's see you get on some regular every 3 days until something changes. When I say changes, you'll start feeling softer. You'll start feeling bouncier. You'll start feeling with the hair is not so thirsty because hair does absorb a lot. Remember, it does have fiber as cuticle. The cuticle is fibrous or it has fiber. And so it will absorb a lot. Well, it acts like fiber. It's not real fiber, but it acts like fiber. And so it absorbs a lot. So what we want to do is give it a lot to absorb that is healthy, and then go from there. The hair will tell you when you can get a color. You might not be able to get a color too soon, but the hair will let you know as it gets healthier, and then the color should hold. As far as the perming, that's another issue. And so let's get in contact with me again. Let me know your progress, and we should be able to further advise you according to the reactions from your hair. The second question I have, um, I've worn lace wigs for a long time. My hair is very damaged. Hmm. Okay, lace wigs. It's just that the lace wig is a cap, and so it's not going to really do the damage as much. There is theories of the hair being drying to the natural hair, or the cap being drying to the natural hair. However, I have not seen that in my experience to be too severe. So I'm thinking because you didn't do conditioning while you were wearing the lace wig, this is why you're low. So don't feel as if the lace wig, lace front, cap wig had anything to do with your dehydration, but little, but not enough to make you severely damaged as you speak about. So I'm thinking that you're breaking and doing all that. You've got to get into the brushing. You've got to get into the deep conditioning. And here again, I would go once a week with a lot of moisture, and then I would do start protein within the second or third week. Um, Start your protein, add your protein into your moisture. Right now, we just want to make sure we don't give you any moisture of any protein, because usually when you're dehydrated, you have a lot of protein and not enough moisture. And then you'll have to build your protein. But for now, let's start you with conditioning once a week with a lot of moisture. And then about 3 weeks into it, I need you to change over to um, your protein, add your protein in. But first, let's build your moisture. Wigs are okay, and you can actually still wear your lace front um, as long as as long as you don't have a disturbed hairline. If your hairline's having a lot of trouble, then you might just want to wear a cap wig, which you can remove easier than you can the lace front. So that way you'll be able to condition faster and not have any more stress on those edges. So yeah, let's try that, okay? Lynn, thank you for asking that question. I don't think I've had that question yet on the program, on the channel. Question number 3. Well, I do not, oh, I don't know why I should wear my glasses. I went to get my glasses. I do not get hair in my brush when I brush. Oh, okay. So you know how people are losing, you're supposed to lose anywhere from 80 to 100 hairs. Some say 150, I've read. So you're supposed to lose anywhere from what 80 to 150 hair strands a day. Okay, but not everyone does. So don't feel as if you don't get any hair in your brush. I would look into that. In my experience, um, the hair shedding is great, and the average person has that much shedding, and it just means because we have thousands of cuticle follicles, hair cuticle follicles, all over our head per square inch. There's a lot in that area, so every hair follicle is doing something different. It's either living or dying, and so that's what hair does. Okay, and we'll talk about the phases of hair cycle, of the high hair cycle. But basically, they suggest that you are supposed to have 80 to 150 hairs as far as a day in shedding. If you don't get that, I would question if it got too low. For instance, it's okay because people usually go in the other direction. They usually thin, and so they see a lot of shedding. And so, but you're not seeing any hair. And so I would question that. So why don't you zoom in, contact me again. Why don't you zoom into your hair and sort of concentrate on if you're getting hair in your brush, if you're seeing it in the tub, because a lot of times you'll see it in your shower because the hair is wet, it's heavy, and if it's on its way out anyway, of course, you'll see more hair in the tub. So but however, if you really are getting under 50 hair shedding a day, I would say okay, as long as you're not thinning, as long as you are not flat. Your hair gets real flat or it does not style properly. And it's not just due to a bad haircut. The hair is not being molded. The hair is like clay, and you can mold it into shapes. And you can even mold it where some people have growth patterns. And that's like hair goes in one direction or it's in a swirl. That's a growth pattern. So if you see your growth patterns getting thinner, if you see the scalp not sloughing off properly, for instance, we always are going to have a little scalp flakes from time to time. Not anything to worry about, but you should see some from time to time. If you don't, we don't worry about it. However, if the scalp looks more red and you don't have the flakes, we just look at a normal scalp and what it should be doing. And a scalp that is normal is going to be shedding at least 80 to 100 hairs a day. Um, when we say normal, if you're not shedding that amount, it doesn't mean you're abnormal. It just means that maybe we should observe it. Maybe something is going on with your hair that the scalp is slowing down. So I would take in consideration or worry about age. I would worry about not having any if it was thin. And then I would think, wait a minute, she's thin, but yet she doesn't have any hair shedding. So we just have to see if the scalp is not going dormant. And so the scalp will do that as we age and as we stress. So we just want to watch that. I don't think it's anything to worry about unless you start developing other issues. So I would look for little bald spots. I would look for thinning. I would look for flatness. That's a sign of dehydration, but it can also mean that the scalp is shutting down or should be slowing down. And we want to keep the scalp healthy and blood flow. There's a lot of blood flow and vessels in your head. So we want to keep all that blood flow nice and strong and healthy, as well as the scalp. So sometimes the scalp doesn't receive enough nutrition or enough, um, um, should we say, stress release. There's a lot of muscles. We have a lot of blood flow and a lot of muscles in our head. So if the muscles get too tight for one reason or another, it can just start the scalp to slowing down. So what we want to do is just watch that, okay? And I'm not worried that you're not shedding, but I would like to see some shedding. So I'm thinking you're probably overlooking the shedding, that you probably can't see it. So just take more of a magnifying kind of look at your hair and look at your brush, look at uh, tub and make sure you can catch the hair. You might have to put a strainer in there that catches hair in your tub. And that way you can make sure you can count some shedding, either in your brush or either in the tub or on your clothes. You should see some shedding somewhere. Okay. But like I said, if you just have one symptom and it just says that you're not shedding enough hair or the usual amount of hair, as long as you're shedding something, I would feel happy. Okay. So why don't you zoom in with a magnifying glass and, really look every day for hair. And I bet you'll find it. If you don't, contact me and we'll talk about other um, symptoms that you might have that might make me more concerned about the no longer shedding. Okay. Uh, fourth question. My hair and scalp is oily. Okay. So she's shampooing. Um, she shampoos a lot. And but she shampoos because she feels like her hair is oily. Don't want you to shampoo with those pretenses. I want you to shampoo twice every 10 days, minimum 7. Okay. So in other words, you're not shampooing more in 10 days. Sorry, I said that wrong. In 10 days, you're supposed to shampoo twice. Okay. 2 times within 10 days. This gives the scalp time to gather its natural oils back. If you keep shampooing, what will happen is that you will wash away the oils and the oil is supposed to be there. It's called your acid mantle. It's on your scalp and the acid mantle has to stay in balance. It has to stay in pH balance as well as it has to be there. So every time you wash it off, the scalp will repeatedly put it back on there because it knows it's supposed to be there. So what you can do is make it overactive. And so you feel like your hair is oily, but actually if you stop shampooing, your hair would normalize. You wouldn't have much oil. Not saying that some people are not oily. Uh, I do know that some scalps can be oily. However, I do know that a lot of scalps are oily because they shampoo too often. So we could get a normal ideal of what your oil is if you would stop shampooing so much. Then we could say, okay, you are oily and because you're not shampooing too often and we're getting a lot of oil here. But a lot of times when you strip your scalp too much, it just starts to, try to lubricate again and again. And not only are you, not only you're irritating the scalp by taking off the acid mantle, but you're not controlling your moisture. Moisture level is very much controlled by the brushing as well as by the scalp putting oil there. And so your scalp stimulates the oil as well as, or your scalp, and it helps put the oil there. So if you would let up on the shampooing, You would see what your normal oil is. Then you can judge whether or not it is oily scalp or not. Generally, people have dry scalp because they shampoo too much. So yeah, let's do something different there and see where you go. So contact me again and let me know. Remember, with all these questions, you have to keep in touch with me only because you need to learn. And the more you talk to me, the more I can teach you how to look at your condition of your hair and go from there. If you always are making the hair decisions without, um, should we say, proper knowledge, or you're just guessing at the symptoms and then trying to treat the symptoms and not really understanding what the cause of the damage is or treating the cause of the damage, then you're always going to be in a repetitious cycle that's going to put you in what I call a hair rut. And that hair rut is meaning that you're just buying product and treating the symptoms, buying product and treating symptoms. The hair companies are really giving you something to take care of your hair problems. However, once they get complicated, it's hard to figure your hair problems out. And because you don't know how your hair lives, it is another problem in you analyzing your hair all by yourself. So if you talk with me, I can always educate you here on the channel, but I can also give you personal advice that will help you understand what your hair is doing. Um, my favorite part, I'm so glad that was the fourth question. Hair facts is next. Hair facts I like because this is for your folder. You should have a hair folder with your name on it, and you should be able to put information that you find out about your hair and put it in your folder. That way you can remember what your hair is or what its characteristics are by looking at your folder, and you won't forget because you have a folder. So let's let this hair folder be the bulk of our knowledge, hold the bulk of our knowledge. I get to talking so fast. When it comes to hair, I love talking hair, and you can see it in my voice, or you can hear it in my voice. But yeah, you want to have your hair folder there so that you can take notes while we're talking, as well as when you come to my channel. And that way you can go back knowing your hair a little bit better and how to condition it. Everybody has different conditioning hair issues. Now, hair always is the same for everyone because everybody's hair is structured the same way. But what happens where it gets personal is when hair reacts to your lifestyle. We don't just live with just our hair acting the same way. It kind of feeds into our lifestyle. So if we're eating bad, our hair is going to get involved. If we are exercising bad, our hair is going to get involved. So the hair has a lot to do with who we are. Hair facts. Hair facts is on deep conditioning today. I might have said this before, but when I started hearing it to be not as when I start looking at the questions and seeing that you need another deep conditioning lecture, I go for it, right? Deep conditioning is important. We cannot forget it because it is how the hair has to have support. A lot of times we think, oh, deep conditioning, there's no importance on it. But actually you should put 4 stars behind it, maybe 5. Because what happens is that when we deep condition, we're changing the inside of our hair shaft or inside the cuticle. We're changing the inside of the hair strand. So what happens is that you are able to sustain your hair, give it support. Hair is a dead appendage. And if you do so much to it, it can die and you can't get it back. It's already a dead appendage, but it has living matter. If that living matter dies, then of course the hair is all dead and it won't stay on your head. It'll break and start having issues. As you probably know, if you're working with my channel, you understand damage. As a matter of fact, understand damage too much because that's all you live with and that's all you stress about. But we want to remember that damaged hair can be controlled. And you can understand your damaged hair by just knowing how your hair lives. So your deep conditioning is a big part of your support system. If you're not putting back what the sun takes out, if you're not protecting your hair from the sun, then these are all issues with deep conditioning. You can't put anything in, you can't take anything out of the bank if you don't put it in there. So the same thing with our hair. We need to, anything after 3 inches from the scalp no longer receives nutrition from the scalp. So your hair has to hold on to the nutrition that it got from the scalp, and it has to hold it in the hair strand as it goes down the side of the head. So when the hair gets down here by your shoulders, it receives no nutrition. So if it doesn't have any nutrition, then of course the sun not putting it back, not helping the living matter survive, it will start hair breakage. So we don't want to go down that slippery slope. We want to stay above, not in a high risk area, but in a low risk area, which means deep conditioning puts us in a low risk for damaged hair. Simple as that. Okay, so you have to get your conditioning heat cap. You have to do your brushing. You have to start monitoring your hair for red flags, noticing dryness before it gets severe, and of course putting back dryness or moisture to combat dryness. So if the hair has suffered moisture that day, moisture loss that day, which it will, then you need to be putting it back by the end of the week, because every day has suffered some moisture loss. So at the end of the week, you need to put that back. Over time, we lose protein in our hair, okay, because we don't always eat right. We go and travel and we go into different climates. That's hard on our hair too. So we have to understand that has living matter, and it lives our lifestyle. And our lifestyle determines a lot on how well our hair can sustain itself. So of course we want to look our best, and we don't want medication to interfere, but these are facts. It's hard to have medication look your best and don't condition. So you've got to put the three together, okay, in order for them to work and give you a happy hair life. And that's what we want. We want hair wellness where you feel strongly about the health of your hair. And if you're at my channel, you're already worried about it. You're worried about the health of your hair. And I understand. That's my clientele. They want to stay away from damage, and they want to prevent damage and not create it. You know, if you think about it, you create 80% of your damage at home. So why aren't you putting 80% back? You get it? So this is how it works. Remember, you live with damage, and you live with it too long before you stop it. The thing is, the key is to have your hair situated where you're monitoring it, you're dealing with it, you're conditioning it, you're working with it, you've got your hands in it, and you say to yourself, well, I just started a new medication. I know my hair is going to need more conditioning. Or I just started on medication, or I've been sick. I need to put something back. So protein and moisture, remember. Um, I want you to not live with damage too long. I want you to recognize it and work on it. I want to thank you for staying. I want to thank you for sending in your hair questions to detahair911@gmail.com. I also thank you for coming to my Facebook, Dita Damaged Hair. I really appreciate seeing you there. I want to push the like button. We really need the like button, and we really could use a comment. It would really help if we could get a comment. A comment would help because it shows that hair damage has a voice, that we are sitting at home. We don't have the answers that we need, and we need to give damaged hair a voice so we can get answers. Okay? I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your time that you've given me today. I hope I utilized it sufficiently, and I really, really hope that you're taking a better step towards hair wellness. Now, go have a better hair day. Thank you.